German or English?
Depends on you.
Depends on you.
We can do that in English.
Okay. Can you do just a short introduction for all those people who do not know you?
Yes, my name is Oliver Hader. I started with Typo 3 almost 10 years ago. So my first Typo 3 event have been the Typo 3 Developer Days 2006 in Switzerland in Dietikon. And at that time, that was the first time when I met the Typo 3 community, and I was really quickly fascinated by that community and by that openness. And then, yeah, I wrote my diploma thesis about inline relational record editing. Then I was invited to the core team. 1 year later, I was release manager of Typo 3 version 4.3. Then I was the leader of the core development team until I decided to start studying again. And now I'm a regular core developer, which is still fun and really cool to be in that team.
Okay, quite a lot, great CV, quite a lot of stuff you've done. You have now finished your master thesis.
Mm-hmm.
What was the reason you have finished a diploma, to do a master, to study again, to do all the stuff again, writing all the stuff, and what was the reason for it?
Basically the reason was that I like to, do you say that? I like to educate people. Yeah, I like to share knowledge. So that was the basic intention. And I wanted to go in that lecturer stuff and doing lectures at universities. And they told me, okay, since you just have a diploma, if you want to work in that scientific environment, you need to have at least a master degree. And that was the basic motivation, since I was keen on doing that, to catch up with that and to have a master degree in the end. And I think that was really cool, because if you are working really in an environment like doing Typo 3 all the day, that is still cool, but it's the same stuff every day. So you sometimes get a little bit bored because you already know what you're doing the whole day. And by starting studying again, it was like, okay, there are new technologies out there I heard about, but I never had the time to try them out, to do my own tests and experiments with that. And that was really cool. I think the last 2 years doing a master degree was really helpful in that regard.
And looking for, in 10 years, will I talk to Dr. Oliver Hader?
I don't know. Okay. So last time I thought, okay, this is the last degree I'm going to do, because I'm now finished with studying, and now let's go to do some work, get hands dirty and create something. And I did not expect back then in 2007 that I would be studying again, so who knows, maybe. Maybe
in 20 years you are a professor and
I don't
students
know.
have to work on
no promises on that, no promises.
Okay, your master thesis, can you explain it in 10 sentences what's it about?
Okay.
You've held a complete session about it, so
yeah.
if you say it's not possible, people should read your master thesis, I think that's totally fine.
The master thesis is written in German, which was easier for me than to write it in English. So time is a constraint in that regard, because if you're not a native speaker, then you need to translate that and find proper expressions in your thesis. Still, it is planned to extract parts of that master thesis so that the community can benefit from that, or can read up. What my thoughts on event sourcing, that was the topic of my master thesis, have been when I was working on it. Event sourcing is about changing the way how we deal with data. So currently, if we are in Typo 3 or in any application, it's like you have a form, you modify data, like let's for example take contact data, like you have a first name and a last name, and then you change the last name because there was a spelling error or whatever. You change that, and the state is directly transformed into a state in the database. So if you change that multiple times, you don't know what happened in the past and why that happened. Event sourcing gives more power to the actual events, like the last name was changed or birth date was changed, which never happens in real life, but maybe it's in your domain model. So event sourcing is part of a domain modeling process. So if these things happen, modifications over time, you don't only concentrate on the state that's in the database, but more on the events that happened to actually bring up that state. And that's the power of event sourcing. So the only truth, the only source are the events, and if you apply all these events again, you end up with a state. And that's the cool thing, because if your application is buggy and has severe bugs, like it's wrong in the database, then if you have proper events that are correct, you can always, it's called a projection, you can always regenerate the state that is presented to the front end, to the user that is actually viewing and visiting the website. So that's the basic power behind event sourcing.
Okay, sounds promising for the future for Typo 3. Are there any plans to integrate this in 9, 10, 11, 12, 13?
No promises on that. So I had a session. So what I created now is what I created during the master thesis time is, I call it a proof of concept, and of course I'm looking forward to get some feedback on that. Because it's very beneficial to see that in real life and to have people that have problems and have possibly or finding a solution with using event sourcing. And if they can give feedback to me or to the core team in general, like this is helpful, or I would like to extend that to some more programming stuff, to some more domain logic, then yeah, that would be really cool, and I'm looking forward to see that in Typo 3, but not for version 8, so maybe for version 9 or even version 10, so no promises on that. But I think it could be really beneficial to have that in Typo 3, because it solves the complexity that we have nowadays with workspaces, with languages, so we have a lot of overlays that are done each time when you query a record. And by having that approach with event sourcing, you don't need that anymore. You just have a projection for the workspace and language context, and you have another projection for a particular different workspace context. And these contexts can live on different web servers, so you can divide your whole site in a, this is my staging website and this is the live website, like it's possible right now already, but based on these events. You don't have to take care about these delta deployments, about content deployments on your own. The core is providing that functionality.
Okay, that's great. You're now in Essen, Unperfekthaus, Typo 3 camp. Why did you travel from Franken to Ruhrgebiet?
The upper Franconia, where our Franconian forest where I'm coming from, is indeed around 600 kilometers away. I've been here in the Unperfekthaus before, so we had a code sprint, I think 3 or 4 years ago, Typo 3 core code sprint, and I really enjoyed the place. It's really amazing to see all that arts and culture and these different aspects that you can find here. So that's the first aspect. I like the Unperfekthaus. And besides that, yeah, a lot of friends are living here in Düsseldorf, in the RheinRuhr area, so yeah, I had to be here, and I've never been at the Typo 3 camp in Essen. So that's the first time I've been at almost all other Typo 3 camps. So that was the missing part, so I had to be here.
So it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Just one question. If you are not doing Typo 3, what are you doing when you're not coding, when you're not doing something like that? What's your private life? Or if you want to share.
Can I mention that I go to bars and have some beers and just have a party and stuff
totally
like that?
Fine.
That's
So
totally fine. Okay.
That's you.
I could mention that.
Yeah, you could. You could.
Okay.
But you don't have to.
I don't have to. Okay. Now let's take something different. I like to do sports, so I like to go mountain biking. So as I mentioned, the Franconian forest, that it's around 700 meters above sea level. So you have a lot of mountains, and it's really cool to do that outside in the forest or to do cross-country cycling. So that's what I enjoy and what I do in my spare times, to enjoy nature actually, to go away from computer screens and from informatics and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you for the interview.